Hello, friends. Or, I don't even know which way I do it anymore. Anyway, I am going to be doing a part 2 mock video for this book, My Year in the Middle, and I think I had in my mind that I was only going to do one, but I've decided to do two because I love this book so much. So, and I've bookmarked the part that I'm going to read because I learned from the last video. So, the last chapter or the last excerpt or little section that we read of this book was part of the synopses, as well as, I believe, the part maybe over halfway through the car scene, right? So this is actually going to be a step backwards. It's like in choir, like sometimes we learn the music backwards. It's just a thing. So this chapter is ironically called Election Day. So chapter 22. So anyhow, just can't get over that relevance. At any rate, the significance of this chapter is going to be, and I'll just set the stage, is a classroom scene. And it's going to involve a conflict between a select few character students, and I'm not going to get into that. I'll let you when I read. And they're going to argue about their beliefs and their opinions, political opinions, surrounding the current election that's going on between Wallace and Brewer. So obviously there's a significant divide that's going to occur because one is advocating for social justice and civil rights and one is not. And in this current time period that we are in, yes. And I'm not talking about the past, which is this is it. I'm talking about the present, like, same stuff, different day, right? So here we go. This is going to be interesting stuff. In today's primary, there are 7 candidates for governor. Let's name them. Hands shoot up all over the room, and Miss Garrett starts to list our answers on the chalkboard. While she talks, my eyes turn to the window. 6th period PE is in session. I watch the lead group of runners until they disappear from view, which doesn't take long. They're running wide open. I guess they don't know about saving something for the distance. Miss Garrett's chalk taps the number 7. Who can name the last candidate? At first, nobody says a word. I sure can't think of his name. He's one of those candidates most people have never heard of. Finally, Belinda raises her hand. Coleman Brown. Excellent, Miss Garrett says, which makes Belinda glow and me glow with her. Right on, sister, Charles says. Give her an A+, teacher. Miss Garrett smiles and shakes her head at this, but Charles just keeps on yapping. Come on, y'all, power to the people. Smiling big, he raises his fist in the black power salute. Wouldn't you know it? Nick can't let this slide by. He hops up from his desk so fast that a book goes bam on the floor, making the flowers in Miss Garrett's vase quiver. Don't y'all start that mess in here, he barks. Lots of white people hate that salute. 2 medalists in the 1968 Olympics got in big trouble for making it. Miss Garrett whirls around. Nick, hush. I'm not going to hush till he does. He points at Charles. You trying to tell us what to do? Charles says. Please. Those days are long gone. Preach, Willa says. Long gone, Nick says. You wish. Ugh, I want to shut thy ears. This reminds me too much of the Wallace rally. Now the whole class starts rumbling and snipping. In no time, Charles is out of his desk and leaning over mine in the direction of Nick. You want to make something of it, Nick says. I cower down in my seat while the 2 boys' faces nearly meet over my head. Okay. So in the span of I don't know, maybe a 5-minute conversation, these boys are ready to go at each other's throat. So if it wasn't clear, Charles is he is a person of color, right? And Nick is, saying hush. with all that, right? So here's where the political argument comes in. And this part is really interesting because this interaction, this narrative that these two boys, again, are forming, like the author does, right? One person is really good at symbolizing a certain perspective or opinion. They do a very good job at articulating a very stereotypical rhetoric or conversation that will occur when these two opinions clash. And so, looking at Charles, he is really like giving, rah, 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 right? Because Belinda, right, who's supposed to be Lou's like new BFF, like she's a really like all around well-rounded individual in that she's academically high in level. She's a great runner. She's just, got it all going on. And so Charles is like, yeah, like power to us, like power to the black people. We're doing things, like we're noticeable. You can't just pretend we're not as citizens and don't exist and treat us bad. And Nick, representing that Eurocentric, that Western white, like, and be gone with that stuff. Like, why are you guys always whining about that stuff? Why are you complaining things are so bad? Things are great for me, right? And that's where we see this kind of, if I may, white wall, where we seem to have the characters who are white just can't seem to see through that transparent glass wall of what their experience is in comparison to theirs. Or Charles in comparison to Nick, excuse me. I won't confuse people. So, and you see this all the time. You see this in social media now. You see conversations like this happen all the time where they just cannot connect. And it only leads to like conflicts, as we see Nick challenges Charles. And I make that distinction because I think it's an important one to make. Because before that, Charles is kind of proclaiming himself. He's like, no, I'm kind of an equal in this situation. Like, because Nick was standing up and now Charles is standing up. And in response to Charles standing up in the classroom, Nick is now, you want to make something of it? Oh, you think you can stand as high as me? Think again. So it's a very interesting exchange. The interaction definitely illustrates a very common, not personal narrative, but a distinct testimonial pattern that you see when you see interactions between two very different cultures, especially when, again, we're talking about that idea of a dominant and recessive culture, one that always claims dominance over the recessive culture. So it's already getting crazy.